866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. That's the number to call to speak to me live. If you're listening to the podcast, that number, 855-347-3696, 855-347-3696. Let's go to Suzanne in South Florida and see what's cooking. Hey, Suzanne, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. Thanks again for taking my call.
Yeah, well, I almost didn't because you're in South Florida. It's probably 80 degrees, and I'm up here in Chicago. It's minus something or another. I don't know. What am I doing in Chicago? Oh, my God.
I don't know either. It's a lot nicer down here. However, I'm calling you because years ago I was diagnosed with Meniere's syndrome, and, of course, what I've learned about it so far is that food allergies, stress, are the culprits, and I've been working on those, not hard enough. The symptoms have come and gone in South Florida. When it rains, the mold spores come up, and the mold allergies are really exacerbated. Along all of my doctor visits, I also was informed that I have huge inflammation issues in my eustachian tubes, and it was said collapsed eustachian tubes. And I feel that for whatever a person can feel, it seems from all that I've gathered so far that that's the issue. On your tinnitus webinar, you mentioned eustachian tube homeopathic treatments, and that was a pretty easy thing to address. So I'm calling to ask you what can be done.
Okay, great. Well, we need to, with great question. You're very articulate, by the way. What do you do for a living?
Oh, that's debatable. Considering getting into longevity, most definitely. I'm a pretty good salesperson, I'm told.
Yeah.
I've trained horses for many, many years.
Interesting.
And health and economy both are making that a very difficult thing to do these days. I'm 51, so...
Yeah. Well, if only people were as easy to train as horses, then life would be good.
Precisely.
Well, so we need the proper perspective to understand what's happening here, right? So the eustachian tube, of course, is made from connective tissue, sulfur-bearing molecules. And when a eustachian tube collapses, I've been doing this for a quarter of a century. I've never, ever seen that. I think it's kind of an out-there diagnosis. Well, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. Okay. But if the eustachian tube is, in fact, compromised in its structural integrity, if the structural integrity has been compromised, then it's from a want of sulfur-bearing molecules because that's what it's made from, also copper. You need more copper. So it's an interesting thing to think about because our position on Meniere's disease is that it's osteoporosis of the skull. There's a little hole in the skull that the acoustic nerve goes through, right? And when the structural integrity of the skull becomes compromised, then connective tissue gets laid down inside the canal where it shouldn't be because the bone doesn't have any hard minerals to do it. So it's really...
But why would my symptoms come and go if that were the case?
Well, because you never know how much... It's a structural thing, right? So it's how much connective tissue is there, what its proximity is to the acoustic nerve, and other variables, because everything's connected in there. So if the pressure inside the middle ear increases because the eustachian tube is jammed up, then that's going to have kind of a downstream effect on the nerve and its placement inside the auditory meatus. And if you're exposed to an allergen, then that's going to create an inflammatory cascade, and the inflammatory...
And that's exactly what I think I have. Forgive me for interrupting, because I want to add in there, I also have issues now with my vision, and it's very much an allergy feeling. I studied your webinars. I said in the holes for the nerves to come through, I feel that that's what's going on, is that there's extreme inflammation. And it's not only concerning my hearing now, but my vision is getting markedly poorer each passing month, even.
Yeah,
it's really...
So that would be two cranial nerves that are at play here, right?
Right.
Yeah, so if we trace both of those back, then, I mean, inflammation is always present. Inflammation to varying degrees is always, a factor in the genesis of a chronic condition. So however, if it was just an allergic thing, if it was specifically an allergic thing and there was no compromised bone skull structure, then everybody that had allergies would get dizzy. But they don't. It's only a handful of people that have allergic flare-ups that get dizzy. Well, why is that? Because there's something going on in addition to the inflammation caused by the exposure to the allergen. So now it gets even a little bit more interesting here, because from our point of view, the vast majority of allergic responses are caused by a leaky gut. If you trace it all back to the initial cause, it's caused by a leaky gut. And what causes a leaky gut? Wheat, barley, rye, and oat consumption. Consistent consumption of all the wrong food all the time. Well, what does a leaky gut do? Not only does it generate antibodies to normal stuff and generate the preponderance of an allergic condition, but a leaky gut also robs nutrients from the body, which make the genesis of chronic disease that much more straightforward of a process.
And that would be responsible for the extreme chronic fatigue. And
yes.
I feel like I can take all the vitamins in the world, and I just feel like crap.
Well, now, yes and no, right? Now, you're in the right ballpark, but we have to make a distinction here, and I'm glad that you brought that up. I can't tell you how many people, the vast majority of people in longevity, have been helped with chronic fatigue. I mean, we help everything. We help blood pressure. We help sickle cell anemia. We help fibromyalgia. We help arthritis. We help type 2 diabetes. We help attention deficit disorder. We help a lot of different things. But I can't guarantee, but I would be willing to bet the house that once you clean up your diet 100% and get on board with the correct longevity program, the first thing that will go away from your body is chronic fatigue. Because the single most common cause of chronic fatigue is an overarching deficiency across the board in multiple members of the 90 essential nutrient family, right? Because everything's connected here in a wonderful little holistic fashion. So the recommendation then is to give your body comprehensive nutritional support, eliminate the 10 bad foods for a couple of months at a time, see how you do, and then add things to the program or subtract things from the program or whatever. But if you're taking nutritional supplements, you have chronic fatigue, and the chronic fatigue has not yielded, then you're not taking the right nutritional supplements. It's that simple. And I've known people that have been on GNC products for years. I've known people that have been on standard process products for years. I know people that have been on every major nutritional supplement company stuff for years. And they get a little bit better, and they're better than they were without it, but they take longevity, and it's a remarkable, it's night and day. It's like comparing
that's part of why I'm calling you, and I'm getting involved with longevity, because I'm going to turn to longevity to help get me, boost me in this phase of life. And,
all right, so what's your current body weight then? I can dial this in for you.
Oh, good. It's on here, about 165, and I'm about 5'7".
Okay, 165, 5'7".
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The recommendation for you in a perfect world would be 2 healthy start packs. 2 healthy start packs, 4 bottles of selenium, and 2 bottles of glucogel at the 240 count. 2 glucogel at the 240 count, 4 bottles of ultimate selenium, and 2 healthy start packs a month. Actually, you know what you could do? You could do 1 healthy start pack a month. Yeah, let's do that. You can do 1 healthy start pack a month, 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals a month, 1 bottle of Beyond Osteo FX a month. That's a better way to do it. 3 bottles of selenium and 2 glucogel 240. Let's review that list. 2 glucogel at the 240 count, 3 selenium, 1 Beyond Osteo FX, 1 plant minerals, and 1 healthy start pack. That's a really good program for you to start with. Plus, because of the history of the allergens, plus the presumptive problem with the skull, it's not a bad idea to eliminate the 10 bad foods. As a matter of fact, it's mandatory, right? So you know how to get that list, right?
Yes, it's on your website. I believe I came across it.
Yeah. So, and it's just kind of like the 1-2 punch, right? So we stop eating food that's gumming up the works. We stop eating food that's pro-inflammatory. We stop eating food that's interfering with nutritional support. And then we give the body lots and lots and lots of comprehensive, holistic nutritional support. We keep our fingers crossed, and we see what gets better. Now, the body heals itself in stages. The body heals itself in a progressive way. And, 4 weeks from now, you're going to be feeling different than you are now. 8 weeks from now, you're going to be feeling different than you will 4 weeks from now, and so forth. If the program progresses apace and you feel good, and every couple of weeks things are improving, then there's nothing else to do except ride this horse, metaphor intended,
right.
Until you get all the way to the end. If certain things get better and then you hit a wall, like in March, there's something that's just not yielding, then call me back and we'll figure out what to add on or what to subtract, and that's how we do it. We have to start somewhere and see what happens. But as God is my witness, Suzanne, one of the reasons that I'm such an advocate for longevity is because I've been around the block, man, and I've done a lot of stuff with medical nutrition. I've done a lot of stuff in holistic medicine. And longevity works better, more faster, and more efficiently than anything I've ever seen. So give it a try. You're going to love how you feel. Give me a call back every 3 weeks, more or less, with a report. Love to track your improvement live right here on Fire Your MD Now. Thanks so much. Stick around, folks. Betty from Minnesota is up next. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. December 30th, 2013, New Year's Eve. You ready for 2014? Longevity Nation is. We're kicking it up many notches in 2014. Why don't you come along for the ride? Betty from Minnesota is new to longevity and has a question about arthritis, I think. Hey, Betty, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hello, and thank you very much for taking my call from frigid Minnesota.
I know. It's a little chilly up here in the Central Plains, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is. It was minus 30 this morning.
Is that wind chill, or was that on the Fahrenheit?
That's on my thermometer, looking out the window. But it's warmed up to a balmy, I think it's 5 below now.
Wow, minus 30. I've never been that cold. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I mean, what's it like when you go outside when it's minus 30?
You bundle up really, really well, and you be very careful what you're doing.
Does the radiator in your car, do you have to plug that in?
No, I have a wonderful little Jeep, and it amazingly it starts quite well. It doesn't even have a block heater on it.
Well, you got to love that.
Yes, I do.
Really, really great. All right, Betty. Well, hey, thanks for the phone call. How can I help?
Okay. I was introduced to your product by my daughter, who lives out in Rock Hill, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. Anyhow, so I got a hold of a representative from Longevity, and I ordered some products, and I've been taking them. I have had rheumatoid arthritis for many years. I'm 62, and I've had it since 1987, so we're going on 36-something years. And I've been on a number of drugs. My last drug that I was on 2 weeks ago was Humira, because everything I had taken through the years, it would work for a number of years, and then it would quit, and I would have to try something different. So I also have an underactive thyroid, so I have been on Armour Thyroid, Synthroid, then the generic levothyroxine, and still taking the levothyroxine. However, 2 weeks ago, since being on the Longevity, which I started on the 9th of December, I quit taking the Humira. And I had a lot of swelling a lot of inflammation, especially in my right hand, and just I was hardly able to lift my left arm up over my head, lift out to my side. It was just excruciating pain. The Humira wasn't working anyway, but I realized that something in the products that I'm taking is helping. And I want to get off of the off of the levothyroxine also, if possible. And I have much joint damage and deformity in my hands and in my ankles and my feet.
So you want my help in dialing all this in, yeah?
Yes, sir. I know that's not too hard for you.
Well, no, it's not, and it's not too hard for anybody. Honestly, because we have been culturally conditioned with two myths, which are just incorrect. You know, years ago, everybody thought that the Earth was flat, and then everybody thought that the sun went around the Earth, and then everybody thought that women weren't smart enough to vote, right? And everybody was wrong. Well, cultural myths just come along for the ride. Two cultural myths that we're up against now big time in the United States. Myth number one is that the MD knows what's best for you. They don't. They only know what they've been trained in. What they've been trained in is just one tiny piece of the greater pie of medical science. And number two, we've been culturally conditioned to believe that healing is a complicated, sophisticated, unbelievably difficult thing to figure out. Healing is easy. Surgery is difficult. Surgery is complicated. Surgery needs decades of training to be good at, but healing is easy because our fundamental position is the human body is endowed with a God-given intelligence. The human body knows how to fix itself. The human body wants to fix itself. The human body is so smart that, son of a gun, it grew itself all by itself from a single-celled organism into us. And we figure, well, if it could do that, you know what? It probably knows how to fix itself. So I've got the easiest job in the world. I just counsel people on what foods to stop eating, because there are certain foods that will be gumming up the tank. You wouldn't put diesel fuel in an unleaded engine, right? Well, there's certain foods that you have to stop eating. And secondly, we just make sure the human body is getting enough of the essential nutrients that it needs in absorbable recipes. So when we nutrify the body and clean up the diet and get the heck out of the way, the body bounces back to the ability that it's able to. I'll dial this in for you, Betty, when we come back. Stick around. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Fire Your MD Now. December 30th, 2013. Dr. Peter Glidden coming at you live in living sound. Let's go back to freezing cold Minnesota and talk to Betty. Betty, you still with me? Hello, Betty. Come on in. Are you still there?
I am here, yes.
All right, very good. What's your current body weight, Betty?
Oh, I hate to tell you, but it's 130 pounds.
130? Well, how tall are you?
Well, I'm 5 foot tall.
Okay, so what do you need to lose, about 30 pounds?
Well, that would be wonderful, but I believe ideally perhaps 15 to 20. I am a larger bone. I'm not petite. I believe I'm large bone. Yeah, well, see, one of the things that happens here is, from our point of view, obesity or even just, weight gain of whatever, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds, that's caused by nutrient deficiencies. So it's the same process that's causing the arthritis that causes the weight gain. Because the only reason that people gain weight is because they eat too many calories. I mean, there was nobody in Auschwitz or Dachau that was overweight. I don't care what their pre-existing health condition, what their race, their nationality, their age, or their sex was. If you don't eat, you lose weight. Period. It's got nothing to do with exercise. It's got nothing to do with genetics. If you are overweight, it's because you are eating too many calories. Well, why would somebody eat too many calories? Because your body knows that it is nutritionally starved. And so your body forces you to eat more than you should in the desperate attempt to fill its nutritional tank. But the food that you're eating doesn't have the vitamin A and the vitamin C and the calcium and the magnesium and the sulfur and the zinc that your body needs. Doesn't have it. It's not there. So you eat and you eat and you eat and you eat and you eat, and 3 hours later you're hungry again.
And then, you start to think that you're lazy, or you start to think that you're depressed, or you start to think that you have the fat gene or whatever. It's all nonsense. The only reason that anybody is overweight is because they eat too many calories, and it's the wisdom of the body that's provoking you to eat too much, because your body is desperately trying to fix itself. It's desperately trying to fix the joint. But the food that you're eating doesn't have the stuff that you need, and so around and around and around we go.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So the recommendation here is really pretty straightforward, right? So now I do want to tell you one thing. The body does have a point of no return. There is a point beyond which the body can't fix it. But I don't know what that is. Your medical doctor definitely doesn't know what that is. You don't know what that is. I've seen disfiguring rheumatoid arthritis completely clear up. I've seen the before and after pictures. I've met the people. I've seen it completely clear up. I've seen it get 50% better. I've seen it get 75% better. I have no idea what's going to happen with you, but I can tell you, as you're already experiencing, that the game is afoot here. And when you give your body the raw materials that it needs to optimize its joint function, it's going to optimize its joint function to the ability that nature and God allow it. And I don't know what that is, neither do you, but all we can do is, saddle up and go along for the ride. Now, the thyroid condition is also interesting to me, because when the thyroid becomes underfunctioning, it's normally because of a lack of three things. It's not enough of the mineral selenium, not enough of the mineral copper, and not enough of the mineral iodine. It's a deficiency in three things: copper, selenium, and iodine. Copper deficiencies will also provoke varicose veins, spider veins, hemorrhoids, or white patches on the skin, or gray or white hair. I don't know if you've got any of that stuff going on, but if you do, that's probably
that gray hair.
Yeah.
Take care of that gray hair with a bottle.
Yeah, well, a lot of people do. But most undoubtedly, that's from a copper deficiency. Now, you've been taking, which did you feel better on, the levothyroxine or the Armour?
It's hard to say. I would have continued with Armour thyroid, but the MDs would not prescribe that anymore.
Yeah, well, that's a problem, because Armour thyroid is thyroid hormone 3 and thyroid hormone 4, T3 and T4. Levothyroxine is just T4. That's all that it is. Now, T3 is the body's preferred thyroid hormone. The body loves T3. The body likes T4, but the body loves T3. T4, which is what you're taking now, will convert into T3 in the presence of the mineral selenium. But you don't have enough selenium in your body, because if you did, you probably wouldn't have a thyroid problem. Now, if I was the king of the world, it would be mandatory. First of all, I wouldn't let anything be sold except Armour thyroid, because it's T3 and T4. And the MDs were jerked around by the pharmaceutical companies, because in the mid-70s, late 70s, mid-80s, the thyroid companies did a big, who makes, I think it's SmithKline Glaxo that makes levothyroxine. They did a big propaganda campaign to convince doctors that Synthroid, Armour thyroid was an inferior product, and it's not. They lied. They said, Armour thyroid, you can't, the doses, you can't measure the dose, and you never know how much you're getting. And it's nonsense. It's a lie. It's not true. It's not true. It's a lie. It's a bald-faced lie.
I was told that, yeah.
Yeah. So, so instead of giving you T3 and T4, which most people have a better reaction from, now they just give you T4. And in a perfect world, it would be mandatory for a pharmaceutical company to put selenium inside the T4. If they did, you would need less of it, because the body would metabolize it much more efficiently. But remember, it's not the pharmaceutical company's job to make you take less of anything. It's the pharmaceutical company's job to make you take more of something, which is why they did it this way. So oftentimes, people that are taking levothyroxine or Synthroid, just by adding selenium into their daily intake, they feel much better, because the thyroid medication works better. Because all of a sudden now your body's able to convert T4 into T3. So when we're up against the thyroid condition, the first thing that I recommend people to do just for 3 months is the comprehensive longevity program plus a little extra selenium. See what happens. And then once you've been fully nutrified for 90 days, then we can entertain a conversation about coming off of the levothyroxine or the Synthroid in regulated fashion. But I wouldn't do that first. I would just take more selenium. So the recommendation for you across the board here, because remember everything's connected, would be 1 healthy bone and joint pack. 1 healthy bone and joint pack.
Okay.
4 ultimate selenium. 4 ultimate selenium.
I'm looking on the.
It's a longevity product. It'll be in the longevity heading, and it's called Ultimate Selenium. SELENIUM.
I'll just write it on here.
Okay. Eat 4 of those a month. 4 Ultimate Selenium. 2 bottles of glucogel at the 240 count. Longevity makes a liquid glucogel. They make glucogel at 120, and they make glucogel at 240.
Excuse me, sir. I'm taking them. I do have the glucose at 220 right now.
Yeah, 240. You need 2 of those a month.
Or 240.
Yeah, you need 16
I need
a
2
day.
bottles. Oh, my.
Yeah. You need, so you take 5 with breakfast, 5 with lunch, and 6 with dinner. That's what you need to get on the other side to support and promote the structure and function of your bones and joints. Because remember, medical nutrition is a dose-dependent phenomenon. If we're not taking enough, well, we'll get better, but it'll be really, really slow.
Okay. Could you please repeat that again? 5, and 6?
Yeah. So or whatever.
You
can do 8 and 8 if it's easier, but you need 16 capsules of glucogel a day.
Okay.
Just don't take 16 all at once.
No. Okay, and the ultimate selenium, you said?
4 bottles a month.
4 bottles.
That's going to be 12 a day.
Okay.
So that's 4, 4, and 4. That's the easiest way to do that. And that's easy. Those are small. Or you can do 6 and 6. I don't care. Whatever works for you. 1 healthy bone and joint pack.
Okay.
And 2 more things. 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals.
And 1.
Yeah, plant-derived minerals. And 1 Beyond Osteo FX.
Okay, and 1 Beyond Osteo. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm taking the Beyond Osteo now.
So what you're going to be doing once you get on board with the full program is you're going to be doing 1 ounce of the osteo twice a day.
Okay.
1 ounce of the osteo twice a day. You're going to be doing 12 selenium a day.
Mm-hmm.
16 glucogel a day.
Mm-hmm.
1 ounce of the plant-derived minerals a day.
1 ounce per day.
Yep. 3 of the EFA Plus a day. 3 of the fish oil capsules a day.
Okay.
And 1 scoop of the Beyond Tangy twice a day. That's a really good place to start. Now, you can mix all the liquids together if you want. You can mix the Beyond Tangy Tangerine with the white liquid calcium with the plant-derived minerals and have a party. Put some vodka in it. I don't care. Okay?
I really do like vodka, but I don't suppose I should do that. Not in the beginning of the day, anyway.
Just make sure it's gluten-free. Now, the other thing that you have to do here is you have to stop eating food that's gumming up the works. Mm-hmm. If you don't do that, don't do this program because it will just take way too long to work.
Right.
And one of the benefits to cleaning up your diet is you'll lose weight without even trying.
Right.
You will. No counting calories, and you just lose 5-10 pounds, boom, just like that. So you can get that list at my website. It's free, fireyourmdnow.com.
Okay.
Just sign up for my free monthly newsletter, and you automatically get a copy of the Good Food, Bad Food list.
Okay.
So that's how we do it. Now, remember, medical nutrition, is comprehensive, and it's a dose-dependent phenomenon. So we need to be taking enough, and we need to be doing it long enough to get traction from it. Once you get traction from the program and things start to feel better, you just keep doing it. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And in a perfect world, every 2-3 weeks, there's another improvement, and then another improvement, and then another improvement, and then another improvement, until you're as good as you're going to get. You know, you might need to do this for 2 years. You might need to do it for 9 months. I don't know.
I have improved. I've been taking the glucogel, the EFA, a killer biotic, the Beyond Osteo, and the Tangy Tangerine. I have been doing not in the amounts that you have just specified, but I've been taking those since the 9th of December, and I feel much better than and I stayed on the Humira as I was taking these, starting this out just to see.
Just to see, right? Yeah, smart girl.
Right, and I quit the Humira because I started to get blurry vision. Well,
the game is afoot, because when you take a drug, you know, and drugs are good. Drugs will save your life sometimes. It's not the gun, it's how it's used. It's not the drug, it's how it's used, right? When you take drugs in a nutrified body, they work much more efficiently and they produce side effects much more efficiently. So I'm not surprised that you started to experience side effects of Humira when you increase the ante with the nutritional supplements. We're all out of time, Betty. Look, I appreciate the call. I appreciate the trust. Give me a shout back at the end of January with a progress report. I will look forward to it. Stick around, folks. We're finishing it up with Terry in Virginia. Thanks for spending time with me for another 2 hours out of your life. I appreciate it very much. Tonight, of course, for insiders and their guests only, Introduction to Longevity, live international webinar at 8 p.m. Central Time for Dr. Glidden insiders and their guests only. Check it out, fireyourmdnow.com. Let's go to Terry in Virginia and see what's cracking. Hey, Terry, I'm sorry. Thanks for calling. You are live.
Dr. Glidden, I wanted to ask you about the CEO pack deal and about food-grade hydrogen peroxide, which a friend of mine found in a refrigerator a while back. She's trying for breathing problems.
Food-grade hydrogen peroxide is a good idea to use if you're battling any type of an infection. Food-grade hydrogen peroxide increases the body's antioxidant. It increases the strength of the immune system because it gives the immune system the stuff that it needs to kill things. So I wouldn't do hydrogen peroxide, food-grade hydrogen peroxide, unless I was fighting an infection somewhere. And it's awesome, by the way, for infections in the mouth and the intestinal tract, but as far as the rest of the body, I just don't know. I wouldn't use it for anything other than fighting an infection, however, but then again, my clinical experience with food-grade hydrogen peroxide is limited. But that's what I know about it. It's really good to kind of bolster your immune system, give your immune system a shot in the arm when you're fighting a viral or a bacterial infection.
She said she was wanting to try it for breathing problems because a lot of people in this valley have breathing problems because we're like sitting in a bowl surrounded by mountains and there's a lot of pollution and chemtrails. And
the hydrogen peroxide's that's the wrong way to go. The better way to go there is essential fatty acids, EFA+. So the first thing to do to support and promote the structure and function of the lungs is to give the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, and it should be called the Healthy Brain, Heart, and Lung Pack. So I would do the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and selenium, appropriate for body weight, to help support and promote the structure and function of the lungs. I wouldn't go near hydrogen peroxide. It's just the wrong dog for the hunt.
Okay, I'll tell her that. Now, about this here CEO pack, I heard you say that the deal ends tomorrow night. Well, I was going to do that because of I needed that $100 break, but I don't get paid until the 3rd. And I was wondering if it could possibly be extended for people who want to become CEOs that are struggling kind of like I am.
Well, I can extend the deal on my end, but Longevity is, I'm not a corporate member of Longevity. I'm just a distributor like everybody else. I don't have any special sway there. So as far as Longevity Corporate is concerned, that deal goes away at midnight tomorrow night. Now, I mean, I don't know. You can call them up, and you can say, look, I really want to do this, but I'm not going to have the money until the 3rd, and can you help me out? I would call Longevity, call the customer service number, and see what they can do. I'm happy to extend it for you. I've got no problem there. And notwithstanding that, the only other thing that you could do is, borrow the money for a couple days from a friend, and then just pay them back when your check comes rolling in. But that you're going to have to work that out with Longevity. And if Longevity does that for you, just get in touch with us, and we'll extend the same deal to you. I don't have any problem doing that whatsoever. It's a pretty good deal, though, don't you think?
Yeah, I need to go on ahead and do it, so I can, start handing out samples, and I need to get my brother back on the program. You put him on the program, and he had to drop out last month because we run up on some financial stuff with the veterinarian, and that's a way to get him back on the program, too. He has schizophrenia.
Yeah, it's tough.
And, you put him on a program about 4 months ago. He's been doing really well, but he's not been doing well this month.
Yeah, because he stopped taking it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see a big difference in him. He's still on the selenium.
Yeah.
And the OsteoFX and the EFAs, which he had an extra bottle of those.
Yeah.
But he's not getting the tangy tangerine or the other stuff he needs, the sweeties.
Yeah, that's pretty important all around. And you have noticed a difference since he stopped it, right?
Oh, yeah, I noticed a difference when he was on it.
Yeah.
And I can tell a difference since he's been off of it.
Yeah,
he's walking around like a zombie now.
Yeah, it's amazing what passes for medical care here in this country, especially when it comes to psychological disorders. Oh, by the way, at the end of January, probably a little too soon to be announcing this, but I'm going to do a webinar on mental illness that's coming up at the end of January. I'm getting way ahead of myself there. Call Longevity. Get a hold of their customer service number. Call them up. See if they'll extend the deal a couple days for you. And if they agree, call us back. I'm happy to help. Terry, keep up the good work. I'll look forward to seeing what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, 8 p.m. Central.